We've selected one of today's graduates to speak about her experiences at National Louis University. Poonam Patel will be receiving her master's in education in specialized endorsements. Since starting her career in education, she has utilized her international perspective and educational experiences in working with the diverse student body at Niles West High School in Skokie, while also serving as an instructional leader in District 219. Utilizing her theoretical understanding of cross-cultural education from both advanced studies and personal experience, she strives to create a learning environment that is culturally relevant, engaging, and equitable. Poonam is actively involved with fellow educators to make our society free from all forms of oppression. For example, she's actively participated in both the Beyond Diversity regional training and the National Summit for Contagious Conversation on Rage in St. Louis. In a true East meets West life journey, she symbolizes the butterfly's struggle to come out of a cocoon, representing not only the struggle to overcome challenges, but also the modeling of birth, rebirth, and reform. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Poonam Patel.
Good morning, Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, administration, friends, family, and fellow graduates. It is a great honor to be standing here before you all. In a small town called Tottenham, in the City of London, stands a local business named Cressy's Newsagents. This tiny convenience store is run by a young, fun-loving couple. From fresh daily bread to milk to an array of penny sweets, this store has it all. 7 days a week, they dedicate themselves to serving people in the community. Mr. Patel, the shopkeeper, began working at the tender age of 14. In his 20s, with his newlywed wife from India, they set out to work each day, earning their keep and raising their 2 children, Harshil and Poonam. Each day that they woke, Mr. and Mrs. Patel dreamt that one day their children would have a brighter life than theirs. Those are my parents, my world, my everything, the reason I am, the reason I stand humbly before you all here. And here is a little snippet of my life. Growing up as a British Indian girl, I had the opportunity to experience all the festivals and cultural traditions that are unique to both Britain and India. The Patel household was colorful and fun-filled. I never questioned whether all Indian families did this, or even if it was normal. At such a tender age, I was unable to comprehend the numerous sacrifices parents make for their children on a daily basis. My happy world seemed to come crashing down when my parents made the decision to send my brother and I to an international boarding school in India, a school that boasted to instill discipline, self-respect, and rigor. I look back at the 8-year-old me pleading with my mom at the airport, clinging to her legs not to let me go. For the first few months, every night before bed, my friends and I would deviously plot our escape from this alien environment and the overly strict teachers. As time went by, I learned to enjoy my time at New Era High School. I loved making new friends from around the world, and I took interest in learning new languages such as Hindi, Urdu, and Marathi. I even found it exciting when the electricity would go out on a daily basis and we would burn candles on the floor to do our homework. Most of all, I loved the smell of the fresh air and the breathtaking scenery that only a 1,500-meter high hill station would boast. Boarding school eventually began to feel like one giant slumber party. I never once questioned if all children had this educational exposure or whether it was normal. In 1997, I returned to England to complete my high school and college education. I attended Queen Mary's University of London and graduated with a degree in biological science. Growing up, there was always a societal pressure placed on Indian children. You had 3 options: become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer of some type. Failing was never an option. My parents didn't have the reaction I had anticipated when I chose a different path. They didn't shout, they didn't disown me, or even pressure me to change my mind. In 2006, I married my husband, Perrin, a native Chicago resident. I took the leap of jumping out of my pond and relocating into his. I moved to the Windy City, leaving everything, everyone, all I had known for 23 years behind. I never thought I would ever make this decision in life. I was sent away as a child and had vowed never to leave my parents again. But sometimes the hardest decisions bear the sweetest fruits in life. The first 2 years in Chicago were and still are a blur. Learning how to drive on the opposite side of the road, using the word garbage instead of rubbish, and even pronouncing the word water as water at restaurants was all part and parcel of my new journey to adapting to my new life here in Chicago. My passion for science, my affinity to learn, and my innate desire to help others led me to enroll at National Louis University. In 2009, I graduated with my MET degree in secondary education, and soon after, I began my first official teaching position at Niles North High School in Skokie. During my second year, I was given the privilege of being assigned with my own ELL, sheltered instruction, physical science, and biology classroom. My new job title would require me to teach ELL students science while developing their English language proficiency. I thought the task would be fairly simple. I was wrong. This is my 6th year at Niles West and my 5th year as an ELL teacher. I have met students from all corners of the world. I have had the unique opportunity to educate some of the most kind-hearted and brave human beings that I know. Like myself, they have left behind the entire world and are seeking a better life here in the United States. Not only are they faced with that hardship, but some of my students have heavy burdens on their fragile shoulders. Many of my students are escaping war, religious persecution, and civil unrest. I stand in front of them every day, and I can see the pain and anguish in their eyes. Many of my students are orphans and are navigating this frantic world on their own. My job, my duty, and my responsibility goes beyond teaching them about atoms and mitosis. It's to guide them to make good decisions. It's to show them that hard work does pay off. It's to coach them that it's okay to fall down 3 times as long as we stand up for the 4th. It's to nurture their wounds and to teach them how to heal themselves. It's to give them space to grow and the room to make mistakes, as long as we learn to reflect upon them. It's to inspire them to take risks and to never give up on their dreams. And above all, it's to plant that seed in their mind that higher education is their passport to success around the world. A month ago, if a stranger walked into my classroom during my free periods, they would have come across the most ironic sight: my students doing their homework while I did mine. We were on the same path. They had an ally who was treading in the same pool of water as them. They gave me the strength to better my philosophy in education, and I gave them the strength to never give up on their dreams. My classroom has its own motto: integrating cultural experiences to transform learning in science. It has an international look and a multicultural feel. I think back to my upbringing and the decisions my parents made for the younger me, and in a very surreal way, I see the past repeating itself. This time, I am the mum, and over my course of my career, I will have had hundreds of children. In 2009, as a young seedling, I became embedded in the art of teaching. NLU not only provided me with a stable foundation to grow, but it also nurtured my personal quest and for constant embetterment. As my roots strengthened and I stood taller, my foundation once again allowed me to build connections and collaborate with an array of knowledgeable professors and academic advisors. They ignited a fire that led me to dawn upon my one true passion pertaining to teaching: multicultural and cross-cultural education. This institution has now bestowed upon me the privilege to now nourish new seedlings as an adjunct professor, teaching cross-cultural education starting in the fall. The late Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." I truly believe in the importance and the validity of his message. In my opinion, education is connected to all aspects of the society, past, present, and future. This begins by establishing a strong educational foundation for our children. By the year 2020, research indicated that 46% of students in public schools will be children of color, and 20.1% of all children will live in poverty. The continually changing demographic of our nation will need us as educators to meet the various curricular, emotional, social, and learning needs of our diverse student populations. No matter where your lives take you after today, one thing is for sure: you will be faced with diversity. Open your minds and your hearts, embrace the opportunities before you, and face the challenges of reform. Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither will we be able to change our destination in life instantly. However, through education, we can choose the right direction and the right avenues. This is where Nelson Mandela's weapon comes into accord. This is why I do what I do. I teach. I equip the cavalry with the courage to act, and I arm them with a passion to strive. Or at least I think I try.